What's good? What's good? It's the one, the only, but what do I know? Boxing coming back at y'all with another one, man. As you guys see it right here, Chris the Bougie Man, Eubanks Jr. He has activated his rematch. He said this is on his verified Instagram account. He says, this morning I have activated the rematch clause via my lawyer and sent to my promoter, Wazerman. Happy Valentine's Day, Liam Beefy Smith. He tagged Liam Smith or whatnot. So Chris Eubanks will be utilizing or exercising, whichever one you want to say, his rematch clause, which really in all actuality, I really felt like he had no other choice if he wants to continue his career, man. Listen, the first fight, I don't even think, even if you were expecting or even if you wanted Liam Smith to win, I don't think anybody was expecting Liam Smith to knock out Chris Eubanks, which is just it. I mean, it just shows you that anything can happen in boxing, and that's what makes this sport so intriguing, right? But as much as I never thought highly of Chris the Bougie Man, Eubanks Jr.'s boxing skills, but we all knew that man had a chin though, and that's not to say people do tend to get that mixed up. Like, just because you get stopped, that doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have a chin. I mean, truth be so told, that Chris Eubanks, once he got dropped, he got up, he was still getting up trying to fight, you know what I'm saying? But it's just the man's been in there with some hard hitters, man. Obviously these guys were past their prime, Arthur Abraham. Was that at 168? No, I think that was at middleweight. But Arthur Abraham, albeit he was past his prime, this was a past his prime Arthur Abraham. But they say the power's the last thing to go. But he's been in there with some heavy hitters though, man. Some good George Groves at super middleweight. You know what I'm saying? James DeGale at super middleweight. Matt Korobov, even though Matt Korobov hurt himself, these guys, he took punches from, big punchers at, super middleweight and stuff. But then, he comes down to fight Liam Smith, who is actually known for being a 154 pound fighter. He fought Canelo at 154, and Liam Smith stops him. That was just bizarre. And I want to say Chris Eubanks actually was a 3-1 favorite in that fight. So Liam Smith was a 3-1 underdog. And that's not a far gap, but that still is, I don't think anybody was expecting that to happen. Now, I was able to watch the fight, but I did fire stick it. So you guys got to forgive me for that. Shame on me for that, because obviously it kept buffering and stuff. It was irritating me. But from what I remember Liam Smith being able to back Chris Eubanks up, which was odd to me. I wasn't expecting Liam Smith to back Chris Eubanks up. Now, obviously, Liam Smith has better fundamentals than Chris Eubanks. Chris Eubanks leaves himself very wide and available to get hit a lot of times. But Liam Smith was backing him up by starting low, working his way up. He came in, and it was just whoever came up with that game plan was just brilliant. He dipped low and came up with or start to the body and then come up top, which will force Chris Eubanks to go back. It's not like Chris Eubanks could slip the punches or anything like that. It was just a beautiful game plan from what I saw. You guys got to remember, it kept buffering with me, so bear with me here. But I was so shocked to see that Chris Eubanks was able to push. Liam Smith was able to push Chris the Bougie Man, Eubanks Jr. Back as much as he did, and then I think it was the fourth round he had Chris in the corner. But this was the crazy thing though. It's not like Liam Smith landed a shot that was like, damn, it was like he just threw a regular flurry of punches, and Chris Eubanks body just it was like a doom, and Chris Eubanks was trying to roll and slip, and then boom, Chris, he caught Chris Eubanks. Obviously he caught Chris Eubanks and he fell back. But I'm thinking that Chris, when I first saw it, I'm thinking that maybe Chris he just caught Chris and Chris fell. But Chris got up and his legs was on the noodle legs. He had the noodle legs. He was doing a funny dance. And I was like, what? Cause I just was not expecting that, bro. I didn't think that Liam Smith like, it just caught me off guard. And then Liam Smith finishes him off, and Chris is like, just like the fight is stopping, rightfully so. I mean, shout out to the referee. The fight was, it should have been stopped at that point, but it was just like, it just shocked me. So, shout out to Liam Smith, man. So now that makes this rematch, that makes everything that much better because nobody expected it, right? Now Chris Eubanks has to come back for a vengeance. So now we get to see, and it looks like from what he posts with the whole Happy Valentine's Day, it looks like Chris Eubanks is gonna be on some, look, man, that was a fluke, and this, that, and the third, and of course, Chris Eubanks was saying, he kept talking about how he was 50% and all this type of stuff, whatever. So he has something to argue with. I guarantee you gonna come back talking about, well, now I know to be 100% this time. I have to be 100%. Chris the Bougie Man Eubanks Jr. has to be 100%. That's what he's gonna say. So I'm actually looking forward to this. I'm excited about it because I want to know. This is something that we've never seen. We never seen Chris get hurt, dropped, let alone stop. And we saw all three of those. We saw all three of those when they fought. So. It doesn't have a date yet. It doesn't have a date, but I'll keep y'all posted on that. But I do want to know, who do y'all think is going to win in the rematch? Now, listen, to me, Chris Eubanks had no choice but to go this route. He had no choice but to, because and I sit down, I think about boxing a lot, right? I think about a lot of fighters, and it's like, okay, what should their next move be? Chris Eubanks couldn't take a tune-up. He can't take a tune-up. Nobody's gonna, bro, if you take a tune-up for what, people weren't gonna let him get away with that, all right? And if he wants to continue in this sport, bro, I knew for a fact Chris Eubanks was gonna have to, he's gonna have to rematch Liam Smith. Now, I don't even want to talk about if he wins because I'll save that for a different video. But all I can say is if he wants to continue, but even if he does beat Liam Smith, I don't think Chris Eubanks will ever be at that top contender. He could definitely kiss this opportunity with Canelo goodbye. Not that we really wanted to see Chris Eubanks versus Canelo anyways, but he could definitely kiss that goodbye because, I don't think anybody wants to see that fight. If you ever wanted to see it, I really didn't care to see it. But regardless, man, I just think that this is very interesting for Chris Eubanks and also for Liam Smith, because now Liam Smith can make his mark in the middleweight division, and the middleweight division where there's a lot of talent. Now, I definitely still don't want to see him against no Triple G. I think somebody said that they have him beating Jamal Charlo. Stop it. I think Jamal Charlo I definitely don't see him backing up no Jamal Charlo. Jamal Charlo's like inside defense is just so underrated, bro. His inside game is so underrated, bro. But still, Liam Smith, he makes a mark for himself. So he could get any of those fights, But regardless, man, look, I'm excited for this rematch. I don't know if y'all are, but I am. So listen, let me know what you guys think. Do you find it revenge or do you find it to be a repeat? Who do you have winning? Like, comment, subscribe. But what do I know?